So we just welcome everyone tonight to Let's Talk for our June 24th meeting. And I think that tonight will be quite interesting. We see some of the slides in our PowerPoint. And I think I'll pop that in right now to give you a chance to look at it. Okay, let's talk. Now, the first one coming up tonight is Alec. There's your hound.
He looks good.
Yeah, cute.
You can tell us a little bit more about what the adventure was.
What the adventure? Well, I don't know. Last time we did Let's Talk, Murray had two hounds on there that I was quite impressed with. So I shot him an email and asked if he had a pattern. And he got back to me right away and said, send me what he had. So I just chose one of the ones I wanted, and I made my own pattern size at the size of wood that I have. I'm getting very low in all my wood. So the grain is running up and down on it, so the tail and the legs won't break off.
Right.
And I had such a great time making this one. I made two others, and I'm still going. I still will make a few more. And I was so impressed with this young hound, I called him Murray. Yeah, thank you so much, Murray. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Any questions about hounds for you guys?
How tall is he, Alec?
Oh, I have to get a ruler and measure him. This guy is to the top of the tail, 3.5 inches.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about 4 inches long. Eh?
3 5/8. As I say, I'm getting very low in wood, and I made these guys out of butternut. I like using butternut. It's easy to carve, and it's you got to watch out for knots. That's all.
It's quite interesting. On the left side of the screen, anatomy is correct too, with the anus.
Yes.
Not everybody's that brave as a carver to put all the details on like you do.
Well, I like to be as close to realistic as I can get.
Oh, they turned out really good.
Thank you.
So are you going to be doing more dogs?
Yeah, I my neighbor, she had a 6-year-old Great Dane, and it died of a heart attack. So there's just her and the dog, and she lives alone. So I thought maybe I would make her a Doberman. I actually have a cutout. I guess you can't see that. I'll show you later, but it's I'm looking forward to doing it.
Sure, do it. Now, the next one coming up is Bill Manson. He's not on tonight, but I think he was going to come, but he may come later. You can see his the name and such on the screen. I think everybody can see that, can you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You should take a look. This is the masthead for his website. And so billmanson.ca. And his Facebook page is quite interesting. He's got even more showing on it. And what Bill does, do you all know what geocaching is?
Yeah,
You know what geocaching is?
I have an idea yet.
People hide a little something somewhere and then put a note on a website as to what the thing might be. And you go looking for it. They don't give you all the details exactly, but it's kind of a coded treasure hunt. And so you've got to find out where the place is that this geocache is hidden. And in Ontario, there are hundreds of, maybe thousands of geocaches all over the province. It gets people out looking for something, going for a walk with kids or by themselves. And when you record it, then you go back and tell on the website, you tell the people where you found it. And so what they've done is geocaching, then is something that Bill really has something similar to that here. But just go back. There they are there. Now, this may be interfering with this. Try to put this down so you can just see you see the faces on there. There's 4 characters there.
Yep.
On his website, if you get a chance to go, were you able to write that down, or do you want more time on that?
I got it.
Okay, what happens is that this little creature, are lapel pins, or the pins that you can pin onto your, like in my case, I wear a vest with all different kind of carvings on it. So I have pins that I've carved, other people have carved. I put it on my vest. It's something like being a Boy Scout, only being older. And then he will take these out on a trail somewhere near where he lives and put them up. And then on his Facebook page, I think this is how he posts a little clue and a story about, for instance, just for an example, I'm making it up when I say this, but the Canadians fan in the middle, there was a bag over his head. He'll tell a story about this guy was so embarrassed walking along the path and he got lost somewhere near where Bill lives. And then right away, the families pick it up and they go out and try to find it. And you can keep the carving after you find it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of a cool thing. Now, this next picture doesn't really give, it helps a lot, but top left-hand side, you see one is hidden underneath that looks like a fence or a support of some sort.
Would
So
that be a
there's
park
magnet on
bench?
that one, perhaps.
Bench maybe or something.
That'd be a park bench, wouldn't it?
Maybe it's a bench. Yeah, it could be. I can't tell. I couldn't see what it was. And then he started hanging them in the trees. So you can see in the bottom, there's it's a strap for holding something down that comes in rolls. You get Canadian Tire and string around that. And then there's a magnet on the back of the piece, a magnet for the carving. And these are like fridge magnets then you could use, but he'll hang those in the trees. And so instead of putting that elaborate piece of strapping on the back and all of that, he has put a nail on some of them and hangs them in the trees. And so the kids go out as a family and they look all over the place. And when they find it, I think he's got his information on the back of the carving. You can go to the Facebook page and tell Bill that you found his carving.
Oh, yeah.
People are responding amazing things. It just, when I've been on his Facebook page, you just read what they say. It's really kind of cool. So it's making people aware of carving, but it's also putting, it's everybody being locked up and locked down right now. This is where it's so much fun to get out and walk and go to places, eh?
Right. Yeah.
So any questions about that? There's back to the other one. On his webpage, he's got way more faces. You can use as models to carve your own. Some great looks. So this is the webpage again, the billmanson.ca, or Facebook is bill.manson at 334. Were you able to write that down?
Yeah.
Okay. So go on from there. These little the sweaters, Mark Sheridan had talked about those at one of our sessions. And you simply carve the sweater and build a wire coat hanger to put it in there, and they become Christmas gifts. Well, that's what he made. Everybody in his family got a crazy, ugly sweater that he carved and painted. And so this way you've got a sweater that could be, like the Canadiens or Maple Leaf or whoever. And go from there to the next picture here comes up is Larry.
Oh,
This is very different for me to see this from the Viking ship carving.
oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a different project. The pattern for the hummingbird was in a issue, I think it's number 38, issue 38 of Carving Magazine.
Okay.
I got it from a fellow carver. I was looking for a ruby-throated hummingbird to carve, and he happened to have it in his home library. So I borrowed the book off him and carved the bird. Then I got to looking as to where I was going to put them. So I ended up having to carve some flowers, and the flowers I chose were morning glories, growing on a vine, which the vine I made from, let's see, the leaves are made from sheet copper, 010 thick copper sheeting. I carved I cut the shape of the leaf out of paper, and then used the paper template to cut the leaves out of the copper, and used a stylus to make the lines in the copper sheet so that you could see the veins of the leaves. Couple of coats of leaf green paint. I did the same thing with the sepals. The bottom of the each flower was a little
The calyx. Yeah.
leaf arrangement there to hold the flower, and I soldered those all onto 18 gauge copper wire, and wrapped it around I think it's a birch tree root that I had. I just cut it off so it would be sticking up rather than lying down, and put it on a oak base.
There's a different view there.
Yeah, yeah. One comment I would have maybe about the carving the bird. It called for the tail feathers to be carved individually. So I started out with some maple veneer, which was 1/16 inch thick, and I had to shave it down to 1/64. So there's 10 tail feathers there, and after shaping and burning them, the instructions were to gather them all together and fit them into the 1/8 inch cutout in the rump of the tail of the bird, so that they all look like they're coming from a central spot. I found that a bit of a challenge to get all those thin pieces of wood to be sort of splayed out in a pattern, and get them to look like they were all coming from the same place. But it worked out in the end, I guess. You got a nice little fantail there.
How many failure feathers did you have?
Pardon?
How many feather failures did you have?
10. Almost one for each feather, but they all worked out in the end. It's just that once you got that wood at down that thin at 1/64, it's almost when you start to push it in a slot with a bunch of others, it wants to crush. So you have to be very careful to get them all. Actually, the instructions recommended that you sort of put them in one at a time, but I ended up finding it better to I gathered them all together in my hand, and then pushed them as one piece into the slot, and then gradually sprayed them out into a fan, rather than trying to do it individually. The painting was not too bad. They called for a greeny gold paint, which I didn't have, so I had to come up with a mix of I think it was Joe Sonia's light gold and I think it was a leaf green color to get the green and gold color for the bird.
Trying to get the iridescent colors would be a nightmare.
Yeah. I used green powder in the last coat of the paint to get the iridescent black into it. The top flower, which supports the hummingbird, for the center of that particular flower, I used a piece of brass tubing rather than just a wire for the center of the flower. And then I was able to place the beak of the bird into the brass tubing to hold it there. So that
What did you use for the beak?
I just use a piece of birch doweling,
A what?
a piece of birch dowel,
Okay.
and then so it's like a separate piece into the face of the bird, so that the green is running down the beak, and then the wings were separate as well. So the green for the wings is running down the down the wing rather than across the wing.
A couple of months ago, a fellow in Peterborough had passed away. He was a carver. His daughter came over from London area to Peterborough to get rid of his things, and she sold the house. So the carving thing, she got a hold of me and gave me the wood. I've got a lot of blanks cut out to do different ducks and loons and that type of thing, which I don't think will ever get done. They'll probably get cut into smaller pieces. But one container had all of the parts for hummingbirds that he was going to do.
Oh yeah.
And the amazing part, I couldn't believe it when I opened it up, but opened up the case, look inside of it, and here was a whole bunch of perfectly shaped hummingbird beaks that were from a thorn tree.
Oh yeah.
And hard as a rock, real sharp point on it. So
Yeah.
he had clipped them off and he was going to use those for the beak. And it's from the look of what you've made, it would fit perfectly in that.
Yeah. A good sized thorn would probably be just about right.
It's probably have the strength to hold up the bird too.
Oh yeah. The bird's pretty light.
Any of the rest of you tried a hummingbird?
Yes, I
Not
did.
me.
Too
It
small.
had to be a big hummingbird with looking and chasing crows away if Alec did it, right? Well, that's fascinating, Larry. Anybody have questions or comments?
I have a comment. That's a beautiful job. I think you did a fantastic job. It looks wonderful.
Thank you.
What a job on that tail, that's for sure.
Peter, you got to turn your mic on.
Okay.
Peter, if you just hit your space bar, I think it'll unmute. Can't hear you. No sound, Peter. Down the bottom of your screen, if you're on a PC, there's a little icon that has, if you mouse over it, you'll see the
Microphone.
microphone will come up. Maybe you can't see it because I got the share screen on.
I had to click at the top right-hand corner of my screen.
No. There, Peter, go back. We'll go back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Yeah.
Okay. I have my little hummingbird in front of me here. If you can put me to my screen or,
Okay, just get you a little bit bigger. Try it. We'll try it. Hold it up later on, maybe. That's as big as I can get you right now.
yeah, I can't see myself.
No, it's okay. Well, let's try it later on. When I get stop share here in a couple of slides, will be finished.
Yeah, okay, and then I can hold it up for you.
Okay, just hang on. So go from Larry's picture to Malcolm Ross. He's not here tonight, but he's got some interesting owls presentations on the left. Great stuff.
Right.
Real bird carver. And that was the other slide. I love the caricatures that come out of the owls, especially. You can do so much with them. I think maybe that's the last one other than Mike Southon. I did a fairy garden kind of thing. Mike is not here tonight either, but it's an interesting one. Tomorrow, I have to go to a lavender field south of Peterborough down by Port Hope and install my fairy village, which I'll put pictures of it later on, maybe next month, to show you what it looks like. It goes in every year. It's been going there now for about 10 years, maybe a bit more than that. But I developed fairy houses that are about 6 inches to 8 inches tall, sometimes a bit bigger than that. Some are covered with stone. At first, we had the idea that we're going to put the fairy village down on the ground, but then when the water came, rain came, or when they're watering the fields, the mud splashes up on it and you lose all the definition from the carving. And so we started mounting them on sharpened sticks with a flat base on top of that, and they stand up, and then the weeds and the flowers around them in the flower beds grow up around them. So it's as if the fairies can fly in and out of the village there. But that's Mike's presentation tonight. Yeah, this is mine next. It's the last one. On our caricature carving, Jean-Paul Andre down he used to be in London, now he's in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. He does the training or teaching for us on that. He was showing us how to carve on the corner. You can see the bottom on the left-hand side, the character face I carved. It's carved so the corner so the nose can stand out further from the face. You dig back on the eyes and then start putting some detail in from there. So as this character grew, he's probably either going to be a butler or maybe an undertaker. I'm not sure which. So I've got a son-in-law is a funeral director. And so he may be getting something like that for Christmas. I don't know what's going to happen yet. But it's one of you get a lot of the detail and characters in it. It's not all painted up or anything like that yet. It's just about ready to go. I think the one on the right-hand side is not sanded as much as the one on the left. Now, the next picture here is what I call my shmoo. And it's simply a guy with lots of hair. You can see that his toes are sticking out from his mop of hair on the front, and his heel is sticking out from the back on the back side of it. I didn't want him to look pink and rosy. He's got to have an outdoor look, so he's really dark complexion. And I think that's just about it for tonight.
Very good.
Okay, I'll stop share, and we'll come back to. Let me get notice of this background screen here. There we go. I'm going to put you on speaker view here and ask Alex if you would show us your blue tick hound.
Oh,
This is how it's developed a little bit further than the other guy, the naked one.
Yeah.
Go a little closer so you can see the spots on it. And to more, yeah, right there. That's good.
Uh-huh.
That's great detail.
my
You got to
painting
talk, Alex.
skills.
You do the
need a
talking
lot
so you
of-
appear.
My painting skills need a lot of work, but I just have a lot of fun doing these dogs, eh? And then I got one. I don't know. This guy's half. Well, I guess 3/4 butternut, and the head is basswood. So he's a mixed breed. Anyway, that's my dogs.
Good.
So Peter, would you show us what you have? Not only you show it, but you've got to talk at the same time so
Yeah,
you come up on the screen.
can you see that?
Yeah.
this was a pattern on the chip chats many, many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I chose to carve it out of a piece of cherry.
Mhm.
Cherry is really difficult to carve, but the grain is beautiful when you. So I tried to carve the wings as thin as I could, and the beak. The beak is the direction of the grain. So I've got the strength here with the beak.
Mhm.
Because of the grain direction. But the cherry, when I was done, I just put some linseed oil mixture on it, and it really shone it up very nice. And I put it on a base.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on a base so that it's suspended up in air. And
Right.
whenever I've taken this to display it anywhere at a show or something, the ladies always love this fine detail.
Right.
They're attracted to it much more than the men. So
Oh,
that's
they just come to look at you. Come on.
so that's my hummingbird.
Very good.
But I do a lot of things with different kinds of wood. I actually taught woodworking technology at Conestoga College for 20 years, and one of the courses I taught was materials, and that involved a lot of wood science, and from kiln drying to how wood shrinks and swells and how all those kinds of things. So I also had a course, a class on wood identification, and we had 22 different Ontario woods that we would deal, and some tropical woods. So I've had a lot of fun with different kinds of woods. And a project I finished again many years ago, but I'm going to show you a picture here. And this is a project that I became known for. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's good.
This is a model of a 1931 Chrysler Imperial, and it's actually 42 inches long. So it's a quarter scale model.
Mhm.
And when I did it, I had access to the actual car. So I had to measure the actual car and then do the drawings. And there's 11 different species of wood in here. I have walnut and butternut and wenge and curly maple and aspen and birch and mahogany, ebony, poplar, basswood, bloodwood, all those different woods put into it.
Hmm.
This was actually at the Woodstock Wood Show in the competition back in the year 2001. I don't know if anybody remembers seeing it. That's a long time ago. And when we used to have the wood shows at Bingham's in Kitchener, until the show organizer, he had a heart attack and passed away. So that's a while back since that happened. I used to take it there a couple of times too. So I do a lot more of those kinds of things than I do the actual, like the type of carvings that's more typical with this group.
Mhm.
But I've had a lot of fun with it, and I've had some interesting opportunities to practice some of the things I've learned in my teaching.
Well, it's a beautiful piece.
Very nice.
Good job.
I have a PowerPoint that lasts for about 40 minutes that I've incorporated into the materials course that shows every step right from the very beginning and how I created the model.
Wow.
You can take that PowerPoint and put it into a video and put it on YouTube and have a huge following with that one.
Well, what I do have a PD, what do you call it? A PDF?
Yeah.
I have a PDF where in my PowerPoint that I created, I had a lot of animations in it. But by removing the animations, I've been able to create a PowerPoint that's a PDF. So it's like a series of about 50 or 60 slides that can be I suppose that could be put into a YouTube.
Let's see, if you have it in PowerPoint, it's very, very simple to put it into YouTube. And the following that you can get from that is far greater than you'll ever get by even a personal email list.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be able to pull that off, but
I can help you do that if you'd like to someday.
okay.
We'll set it as a potential project.
Well, maybe I can send you the PDF that I have.
Yeah, not the PDF, but actually the PowerPoint is what I need.
Okay,
I have a way of getting larger files sent to me. We can do that by email back and forth. And you
Yeah.
can put it into a video very
That's all.
simply. And it is.
I've tried to send
right.
the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I've never been successful with that.
No, they usually the programs like any kind of program that you have with Gmail and that type of thing, sending it by way of any of the Hotmail or whatever, they won't let you send that big a file. But we have a file share program where you can upload huge documents, and then you notify me, and I go in and download it from that site. So it's we do that with a magazine and different things, because the magazine sometimes is sometimes up to 20 megabytes or more.
Right.
It's quite large sometimes, but so I'd be interested in working with that to make that into a video. I'll give you an example of how powerful it is. Like we put these videos up that we do from our 3 different groups from Ontario Woodcarving Association, and of the caricature carvers now from all over the world are hitting on that site. And I think right now, one of the ones that I was looking at today, it has over 1,600, and a couple of guys are from UK right now, want the patterns for certain things. So it has tremendous possibilities. This YouTube thing is a world of its own. And most of us, it's not our world usually, but the youth come down and they go to something called TikTok. It's a very small version of what YouTube is like. And you can send what's happening right now to somebody and get 1,000 people looking at it immediately. And so what we're looking at with the wood carving kind of thing is that what we're interested in is reaching another generation or so, and to motivate them. It's almost like you do in your Conestoga College, is you're trying to motivate that group of young guys to be interested in wood.
Yeah, I got a lot of attention from the model, and actually the full-size model is now located at Conestoga College in the woodworking center. So for the last since 2001, I've been able to talk about that, and because it's a great application of all the different species of wood. And I've got some lathe work in it. There's some veneer work in it. There's some actual carving in it. There's many different skills that are into that one.
Well, it appeals to old guys like myself that used to make models. Every time we had a chance, you'd make a model.
Yeah.
Save up your pennies and buy that special model that somebody else had.
Well, this one was made from scratch.
Yeah.
I didn't have any drawings. I had to measure everything, and then I had to create it. But it took me several years, but it was a lot of fun.
I think that if you think to the model making that most of us used to do as boys and the early teens, that was way before TV was really a big issue, or nothing to do with the internet. That was our internet. It was, you'd show a model to another guy that was making a model, and you'd get together and show your cars. And it was like YouTube today. And it was like Zoom today. Only it was in person.
Well, I'm about the same. I'm the same vintage as you are, and I remember making a lot of models back in the 50s, and yeah. Well, I'll email you and see if we can do something with this.
Sure, I'll just be glad to help you. Now, Larry and Robert, have you got something you'd like to show tonight that maybe is not in a PowerPoint?
Well, that's my hummingbird.
Wow,
Oh, nice.
that's a lot of work.
Can you say something so it comes up on the main screen?
Yeah. Just, Robert, you got to keep talking in order to make it
Okay.
show.
Okay,
Tell us about it.
that was a little bit of driftwood there, and the back piece, when I was over in Newfoundland, I picked that up on the beach. And the driftwood in the front comes from Manitoba,
Oh,
so a little bit of everything.
multi-provinces.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is my caricature head that I've been working on.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about it, Robert. When you talk, then you come on the screen.
Okay, well, that's it's a piece of basswood that came out of a log that I cut up with my bandsaw, and then I just cut it off and put it on the stick. I seen this done the other day, and that's what I've been using to do the carving.
Mhm.
It's a tough looking character.
Yeah. But I got some clay models, so I'm gonna try to make a clay model first and see if I can copy that.
Uh-huh. For the rest of you that haven't attended one of the caricature carving things, that a couple of fellows use the clay models to build that the thing they want, and then they go from there to the carving. So it kind of gives them the concept. You could change it after you do the clay model a little bit. It might change because you break something off, but it definitely helps some.
Yeah.
Murray, do you still have that stick? I seen it once in one of your Zooms there. You had that stick features for the walking, their legs movement, done on with wire. A
What is
wire
it?
model.
You can tell me more so I get to think of that. What is it?
Oh, it's just for making models for the body, for walking movements, you know, for the legs to be, and the arms to be in different positions.
Yeah, I think that was Mike Sullivan showed you that, right?
It might have been, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, one thing you can buy, IKEA has these little models that are about, oh, maybe some of them, I've got ones about 6 inches tall, and other ones maybe almost 10 inches from the base up. They're out of wood, and you position the arms and legs different ways.
Okay.
So the artists use that often to demonstrate how running should be, or when they set the model up.
You got that at IKEA?
Yeah, IKEA has one.
Okay.
They sell a bin full of those characters. There's not, maybe about $6 or something like that.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah, I bought one from there, so you should probably be able to get that. That would really help you there.
Thank you.
Okay. Larry, any input from you now as we get coming closer to what we're doing?
I can't think of anything that's that I've done recently that would you be interested in seeing a fish? I haven't done it recently, but this is a carving of a walleye that I did some years ago. Let's see, 2017.
Beautiful colors on that one.
So it's about maybe 14, 16 inches long.
That would be a keeper.
Yeah.
That's painted with an airbrush?
Yes. Yeah. I painted it with an airbrush.
Okay. I
And-
just got one, but I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice, you know, to get the airbrush, just like anything else, eh? The more you practice, the better you get at it. But I don't know if
Very well done.
I used a scale burner to make all the scales of the fish.
Uh-huh. Well,
So that goes a lot faster than you think, actually. Once you get going at it, it's amazing. You can maybe 4 or 5 hours, you can do the whole side of a fish. But then your neck is stiff and your bum is stiff from sitting there. And
Kick in the neck.
yeah. So
what I
that's,
suggest is maybe for the next meeting we have in July, if you would have something like this that Larry's showing here, if you haven't carved something recently, this would be a great way to show what you've done in the past. And this
Yeah.
idea of airbrushing is one that's really cool.
yeah, it's, I have to airbrush outside in the summertime, so my wife won't let me airbrush inside.
What kind of paint is that to use with airbrush?
It's acrylic, water-based paints.
So like the small things you buy from Michael's, you could use one of those and just dilute it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You want the paint to be about the consistency of milk,
Okay.
and then you can run it through your airbrush. I think the one thing is to think about is as soon as you finish spraying a color, then you want to flush your airbrush out with water so that it doesn't stick up because there's only the orifice on the airbrush is just very minute, so that if the paint gets to dry in there at all, it'll clog up your airbrush. But the other thing that I've tried and had some success with is diluting the paint rather with water. I use windshield washer fluid.
Ah,
The alcohol in it keeps the paint from sticking so much in the airbrush. It doesn't seem to affect it going onto the wood, but it keeps it from sticking in your airbrush.
so if you get a good minus 40 windshield washer,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
right in the wintertime too.
right.
That's a great idea. I have an airbrush that I'm about to start using that I have to, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. For me, drawing is one of the things I do a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
Drawing and other kinds of different kinds I teach. But the airbrush falls right in the area of using a pencil drawing.
Right.
And you can do some amazing things with the videos I've watched on YouTube have been enough to blow your mind.
Yeah, there's some people that are amazing with their airbrush. They can almost paint a picture just with the airbrush. So that the more you, like I say, the more you use it, the better you get at doing it. I think if you go back into YouTube again, there's lots of informative videos on airbrushing that people have out there already.
Well, that's great. That's a great help tonight. We need to talk about more. I've got one and I'm going to be starting on that. I'll show you something that comes out of it. We'll see what it is, but I don't mind showing you my mistakes either.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to contribute? Any one of you?
Well, I did a pyro.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead. Keep talking. So
black.
It's a little boy with a teddy bear sitting on the edge of a hill, and then there's a tree and some just grass around it.
Yeah.
And it says, "If there ever comes a day when we can't be together, keep me in your heart, and I'll be there forever."
yeah, that's Winnie the Pooh, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a real beautiful piece. And
and that was done on maple. That's the first time I tried maple.
Mhm.
And I put it on my bandsaw and I cut it lengthwise to bring it down to that thickness.
Oh, yeah.
But it turned out not bad.
so the grain in the background is a beautiful sky.
Yes, yeah.
They're really good.
That was it.
Okay, I think I've got all your email addresses. We've asked everybody to do the chat, where the word chat is, and sign in. Put your name and email and your telephone number would really be helpful. And should I have problems like I had before, I can immediately call you while the computer is sitting there waiting to get started again. Well, good on you fellas. Have a great week, a month.